right, ladies and gentlemen, JP 730 Sports. Off Thanksgiving vacation, had to take a little break on Thanksgiving. Had family, food, liquor, cards, you know, all the things that the holidays consist of. But now it's back to business. And want to touch on the Eagles situation. And let's just take it a little bit deeper in the fact that they got blown out by the Lions, which is embarrassing enough. But the long term picture for the Eagles and Chip Kelly is what I want to talk about. Uh, Chip has put himself in a position to where he has no one to point the finger at. When you make all the decisions and you're the coach on the field, everything is on you. All right. Now, I'm not saying Chip is going to get fired. Not this season. Probably not in the off season. I think he'll be there through next year. They'll see what happens next season. But the natives are getting restless in Philly. And for those who don't know, I was born in Jersey. So I understand the Philadelphia media and what they do. Um, Philadelphia radio, Philadelphia print. Um, I was there for Ray Rhodes, Rich Kotite, Buddy Ryan. You know, basically, once they decide that you're no good, they will join forces in an effort to get you out. And Chip Kelly is heading down those lines. Listening to some of the sports radio in Philly, some of the mainstays, Angelo Cataldi, Howard Eskin, writers for the Enquirer. They're circling the wagon. It's time. They're ready to run him out of there. Now, the owner's not going to make that decision. I think Chip Kelly will be there, like I said, through the end of this season, and they will see what happens next season. But Chip Kelly, when you decide that you're going to run everything and it fails, no one to point the finger at, there's nowhere to hide. So it's basically all on you. Uh, and I don't know if he can survive. He's just made some bad personnel decisions. You know, he talked about getting players that fit his system. This is not college football. Your one system cannot work, and talent will always trump a system in the pros. You know, I don't know if some of these college coaches get any advice when they come into the league, or maybe they should have a sit down with some former coaches or even some current coaches and just see what it's really about. You can't bring that college stuff to the NFL. Now we're seeing, the read option, people sprinkle that in here and there, but it can't be your whole offense and you succeed. It's just not going to happen because eventually the talent will win over. Defensive coordinators get smarter. Defensive players are great. So I mean, even the worst defensive player in the NFL is probably the best defensive player if you send them back to college. That's just how it works. So the pace and him trying to play fast and all the razzle dazzle, it looks really good until it doesn't, and most times it doesn't really look good. Uh, he'll say he doesn't have the quarterback. Okay, whatever. Um, their defense is pretty good, but he rolled the dice on some players hoping they can stay healthy, and they haven't. You know, issues with DeMarco Murray. The wide receiver position is terrible. You know, and that position alone is enough to keep Philadelphia fans and media in an uproar because when you get rid of a Deshaun Jackson and you get rid of a Jeremy Maclin, and then they look around the field and realize that all the receivers that are there are not any good, that's going to be on you, Chuck. So this loss to the Lions, I mean, you really can't get blown out like this by the Lions and think it's going to be okay. And the Lions have put together a couple of games, past few weeks they've looked decent, but that's just the league evening himself out. You know, the bad teams will win some games and the good teams will lose some games to bad teams. That's just the way it works. It's the numbers, you know. So this doesn't mean anything, but it means something when you lose 45-14 to the Lions. So you can't lose that way. So Chip needs to figure it out, but they're already on him. And like I said, do your research. When the Philadelphia media gets started, it's pretty hard to stop them. And as much as these pro teams like to act as if, you know, what gets said on the radio or the rallies they put together. I've seen these people in Philly put rallies together to get rid of people. Um, as much as they say that what is written by the press doesn't matter, it really does. You know, because ultimately they have to sell the fan base, and if the fan base follows the media, you know, basically it affects everything for the organization. Ticket prices, ticket sales, concessions, all this stuff matters. So Chip needs to get it together. He better get it together fast, or he'll probably be out of town. Uh, Other Thursday game, Panthers and the Cowboys. Not really much to talk about here. Romo makes a difference, but not that much of a difference. I've been saying it all season. The problems with the Cowboys are bigger than Tony Romo not being healthy. I mean, basically, the Panthers, this was their second game in 4 days. You know, so this is an issue with the Cowboys. Like I said, it's a circus. It's a sideshow over there, and it's not everybody's fault and not everybody's involved. But you know, basically, you take on the persona, the personality of your leader. The leader is Jerry Jones. It's all about attention. It's all about interviews. It's all about sales, and it's all about turning the dollar. You know, it's all about controversy, whatever keeps their name ringing out, whether it's good or bad. So, you know, the Cowboys are the Cowboys. They won't make the playoffs. They needed this game if they had any shot at the playoffs. They're not going to make the playoffs. As far as the Panthers go, they just keep on trucking. Cam is having a great year. And here's the thing. I hear certain people, members of the media, talking about Cam, and they don't like his actions. There are two type of people in this world, okay? There are certain people that if you criticize them enough, they will change in order to appease you. And then there's the other type of person that if you criticize them, they will do it more. They will continue to do it. They will be even more in your face because they know you don't like it, but they really don't care. Um, I'm the second person, so I recognize it when I see it. Cam does not care. You want to talk about his dancing, he'll dance more. You want to talk about him having too much fun, he'll have more fun. If you people have a problem, and I don't know why you do, but for those of you who have a problem with him, you know, quote unquote, showboating, your best bet is not to say anything because the more you say, the more he'll do it. And that's just some advice. Um, Panthers look good. Panthers are fine. They won't go undefeated. There's a loss coming here soon, but I don't think it matters. This team is built for the playoffs, and that's what they're heading towards. Uh, the Bears and the Packers. Look, the Packers, I've been saying it, the Packers have been struggling for a long time offensively. And you know, the national media, when these games are on television and you get these the announcers and the commentators, they don't really pay attention to the ins and outs of any particular team. So you'll hear dumb stuff like while the game is on that, yeah, the Packers, you know, they look okay. They've been trying to work it out, blah blah blah. You know, they're still a good team. They're still the Packers. You know, this is what people say who really don't follow what's going on. But I've been saying it. This team has been struggling for weeks, and it started with the 49ers game on October the 4th. Okay? They scored 17 points in that game. The following week, with the Rams, they put up 24, but it was an ugly 24. They won by 7 against the Chargers. All right, 27-20. Now, they came back and smoked the Broncos smoked them, okay, 29-10. The Panthers pretty much beat them up, although the score wasn't indicative. They made a late comeback. The Panthers beat them 37-29. They lost to the Lions 18-16. Now they came back last week and they handled the Vikings 30-13, and then they lose to the Bears 17-13. This team has been struggling since the fourth game of the season. And these idiots on television who really aren't paying attention will still try to tell you that they've been playing okay. They're just struggling. They've been struggling for a long time. Although they got wins against the 49ers, they did beat the Rams, they did beat the Chargers. The 49ers, Rams, and Chargers are bad football teams. So when you're only putting up 17 against the 49ers, when you're putting up an ugly 24 against the Rams, when the Chargers are 7 points, away from having a tied game, are beating you, that's not a good Packers team. And so the offense has been struggling, and it's because there's no Jordy Nelson. Now we have to accept the fact that Jordy Nelson was making a lot of these other guys look better than what they were. You got to double team Jordy Nelson. You have to roll your zones toward Jordy Nelson so Devontae Adams and all these guys get open and they look great. Now that there's no Jordy Nelson, teams are playing these other receivers man coverage, pressing them at the line, and guess what? They can't get open. It's funny how that works, right? So sometimes the guys that you think are good are only good because of somebody else. And, a lot of people didn't see that early. I honestly didn't see it. I thought that they would still be okay, but it's starting to show itself. The offensive line is not really all that great. Aaron Rodgers is running for his life on every play. So, the Packers have some problems. I don't know what they're going to do. They could still make the playoffs, but even if they make the playoffs, it doesn't mean much. I don't think they're going anywhere, They might win a game. Aaron Rodgers is just that good. They might win a game. But this is not a Super Bowl team by any means. Some of the games coming up tomorrow. I'm recording this on a Saturday. Some of the games coming up tomorrow. You got Dolphins and the Jets. Okay, this is basically a game. Whoever loses here is pretty much done. I think the Dolphins are already done, and I think the Jets are on their way out. You got the Bills and the Chiefs. Could be an interesting game. Bills coming off a loss to the Patriots again. The Chiefs trying to make a run at it. That could be a pretty good game. I like the Chiefs in that game, actually, but let's move on. To the Chargers and the Jags. Okay, 2-8 Chargers, 4-6 Jags. Jags are interesting to watch. So are the Chargers to a degree. But these games right now, we're getting to the point of the season where there's no point in talking about teams that don't have a playoff shot, unless there's something really going on there. We got the Raiders and the Titans. Raiders are interesting to watch. They still have an outside playoff chance. The Titans don't. The Rams going to the Bengals. The Bengals are starting to look like the playoff Bengals. So we're getting close to that time of the season where the games start to matter and they're starting to look average. Good game they played against Arizona. Arizona's a good team. I'm not going to really knock them for that game. The Houston Texans loss is no good. They can't have that loss. Those are their two losses so far. And we'll see if they can rebound, but these are the type of games that make people wonder, are the Bengals any good when they have to win a game? And when you have to win games, it's playoffs time and at the end of the season. You have to win these games if you want to be taken seriously as a contender. I don't know if they're ready to win these games. We shall see. Vikings at the Falcons. The Falcons are falling off a cliff fast. I live in Georgia, so I'm hearing all the talk. It's a bunch of things going on. Roddy White issues. Some of the fans want Matt Ryan to go. Some of the fans think it's a coaching issue. Some of the people think that the defense should be better and blah, 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 blah. Here's the thing. The man, Dan Quinn, was not going to come to this team and make a turnaround in one season. This was a team that did not have a lot of talent on the defensive side of the ball. He can't work miracles over there. You have what you have. So he's installing his system but he doesn't have all the players he needs. So the defense is still going to be average. Now, is it better than it has been? Yes, but it's still going to be average. Matt Ryan has a new offensive coordinator, so people are expecting these huge numbers that he used to put up, and he still is putting up pretty good numbers, but he's having some interception issues. Well, you have a new offensive coordinator, and everybody has to learn the offense and the nuances. So you have wide receivers who need to learn it, and you have Matt Ryan that needs to learn it. You're going to have these issues, but here's what the people in Atlanta need to understand. The team wasn't very good to begin with. What were you expecting? I don't know. You know, one thing about Atlanta fans is if any of their teams start off hot, they automatically start talking playoffs, Super Bowl, NBA Finals. They get way overboard because they ain't used to winning. You know, they don't win, so they don't know how to take a good start to a season. You give somebody something that's never had anything, they'll treat it like it's everything. So Atlanta fans, that's just what they do. Um, Saints at the Texans, you know, uh, the Saints are just, they're just participating. I don't see much coming from this team, playoff wise. The Texans, okay, we'll see. I think they have 2 wins in a row here. Um, I'm really not all that fond of the Texans either. They're getting the wins they should get at this time, but they're not a playoff team. Giants and the Redskins. The Giants are a potential playoff team at 5-5, which tells you about the NFC East. Um, Redskins, they like to show up every now and again, but this is not a playoff team. And don't tell me about Kirk Cousins anymore. I don't want to hear about him because Kirk Cousins is what Kirk Cousins is, and some of you people that like Kirk Cousins, when he has a good game, you tend to go all overboard. And then he reminds you what he really is, and then, back to reality. He's just Kirk Cousins. Um, so let me see. Where we at? Where we at? Buccaneers at the Colts. Eh, Bucks have been playing well. Jameis looks decent. This Colts team is just not very good. They pulled out a win with Hasselback, and actually they got 3 wins with Hasselback, which sort of shoots down the argument that people have been making over the last couple of seasons, which is Andrew Luck has no weapons, Andrew Luck has no defense. That's why he can't win games. It's just him. Hasselback is 3-0. I think they're 1-4 with Andrew Luck. So I don't know. I'll just let that simmer. Let y'all think on that. Cardinals 8-2. 49ers 3-7. Cardinals should blow this out easily. This is not a game for the Cardinals. 49ers are my team. I support the Niners, but they really need to just pack it in. Colin Kaepernick's on his way out of town. Blaine Gabbert will be the stopgap quarterback until they draft somebody. Basically, the Niners are just going through the motions, playing some young guys. They got a young defense. Let the young guys get some play. Look forward to the draft. Let's stop pretending like we have a shot here. Steelers at Seahawks. Interesting. Very interesting. I like the Steelers in this game. I still don't think the Seahawks are very good. Um, you know, like I said, they have to tell you the Seahawks are good. And let me break that down too, because I spoke on this before and I didn't get too deep into it. I made a point on a couple of occasions to tell you people that the national media has to lie to you. ESPN has to lie to you. Fox has to lie to you. And they have to tell you teams are actually better than what they really are. Because popular teams that have games on those channels, they need you to tune in. So if you think the Seahawks are just average and they're struggling, they have to tell you that the Seahawks will get it going because they need you to watch the games. So they have to tell you these things. So let's be honest, the Seahawks don't look very good, and they haven't looked very good all year. But depending upon where this game is, this is a CBS game. You'll see this game. This will be the national game. They're going to start that show off by telling you the Seahawks are starting to get on a roll. I promise you. They're going to tell you that because they need you to watch the game. Now, if you are really into football and you really understand the game and you've been watching these games, The Seahawks don't look very good. Now, to the average fan who just looks at the ball go from the quarterback's hand to the receiver's hand and hopes somebody crosses the end zone, well, the Seahawks probably look good because these people don't know anything about football. They're just casual fans. The Seahawks are not very good. The Seahawks still have a decent defense. They have major offensive line problems. Russell Wilson has not been playing well. To me, he looks like he's a little out of shape, but that just might be my opinion. Marshawn Lynch is hurt; he'll be out for a few weeks. Listen, this is not the Seahawks team that you've been looking at for the past 3 seasons. So, but they're going to tell you that the Seahawks are going to get it rolling because they have to sell you these games. So you can listen to them if you want. Just like all the people told you that Peyton Manning is fine, he's okay, he's just a little bit off his game. And people who don't have affiliations or ties to these major networks will tell you the truth like, hey, he sucks. You'll see it come to fruition. The Seahawks are not a good football team. And the Steelers are actually on the uptick. Ben Roethlisberger, I don't think he's human. But I'm concerned about him at the same time because he plays with these injuries and he's been doing it all his whole career. I hope he doesn't suffer for it when football is over. I'm just going to say that. But I like the Steelers team. We'll see what they do. I'm not sure how I feel about the Steelers just yet as far as the playoffs go and if they can make a real run. Um, but we'll see. As long as you got a top-notch quarterback, you have a shot. Patriots at the Broncos. Patriots look very, very average last week. Offensive line problems. Receivers couldn't get open. When you start losing players left and right, the injuries start to catch up, and they're starting to catch up. Here's where what the Patriots have that most other teams don't have. They have a quarterback and a coach and an offensive coordinator that have been working together for years. So they've seen this before and they know what to do. And they know they're going to have to win some ugly games. The Patriots will be okay. I don't think Brock Osweiler can beat New England. I'm just going to be honest. But this game will be close because Denver's defense is good enough. It's not the great defense like they like to tell you it is on television, and I have the numbers to back it up. They're not a great defense because they played very bad teams in the beginning, and those numbers count too. All right, but the Patriots, I still like them to win the game strictly because I don't trust Brock Osweiler on a national game at night against the New England Patriots. I just don't think he's ready for that. Now, if they can find a way to run the ball and play defense, and I think they will play some defense and keep the game close to I have a shot. But if I had to put money on it, I'd take the Patriots here too, even with all their injuries, because the Patriots are just the Patriots. And if you know anything about football, they find a way to get it done. So I'll take the Patriots. Monday night game, Ravens at Browns. I'm not going to talk about this. I hope you all had a happy Thanksgiving. We'll be back on the grind. We got, like I said, we have some scheduling issues, so we'll get everybody back together and start doing more podcasts. In the meantime, though, we'll probably just be doing some solo ones. We also got some NBA stuff coming up with another co-host of ours that'll be coming soon. Some college football also, so everybody stay tuned. Happy holidays. I'm out.